From the marble forums to the distant frontiers, ancient Rome cast an empire of unprecedented scale and influence. Yet, beneath the well-trodden paths of imperial glory, a deeper, more insidious power was at play. This is the story of Rome's forbidden propaganda, the unseen messages echoing from forgotten corners, subtly shaping the minds of millions, a testament to the fact that the true power of emperors lay not just in legions, but in whispers. Welcome to Echoes of Time, your portal to the forgotten pages of history. We reveal the secrets that lie under the dust of centuries and tell the stories that never made it into the history books. Today, we delve into the shadowy undercurrents of Roman influence that history books often overlook, venturing beyond the grandeur of imperial monuments and the epic narratives of conquest to unearth an intricate, often clandestine, network of psychological warfare. What if the very fabric of Roman society was woven not just with laws and legions, but with meticulously crafted illusions designed to control public perception, instill unwavering loyalty, and quell even the faintest whispers of dissent?
The conventional understanding of Roman propaganda is a magnificent tableau of overt manifestations. Augustus's masterful self-portrayal emblazoned on every coin, triumphal arches towering skyward, celebrating military prowess and divine favor, monumental inscriptions proclaiming imperial virtues. These were potent, pervasive, and brilliantly executed, a visual symphony of power designed to inspire awe and submission. But were these the full extent of Rome's psychological arsenal? We ask a more unsettling question. What about the forbidden? What about the subtle whispers, the suppressed narratives, the dark arts of influence that truly cemented imperial power and maintained social order in an empire built as much on ideas as on military strength? The very notion of forbidden propaganda opens a portal to a hidden Rome, a world where persuasion transcended the visible and dipped into the realm of the subconscious. It suggests a sophistication in ancient statecraft that goes far beyond what we typically imagine, a mastery of the human mind applied on an imperial scale.
The Roman Empire, in its ambition and reach, understood that physical conquest was only half the battle. True dominion required the conquest of hearts and minds, a continuous campaign waged not with swords, but with carefully curated realities. This was a psychological battlefield, where the most potent weapons were not forged in iron, but in narrative, perception, and belief. Historians today grapple with the true extent of these hidden tactics. The very nature of forbidden or clandestine operations means they were designed to be ephemeral, untraceable, or deliberately erased from the official record. This presents an immense challenge to those seeking to unearth these secrets, forcing us to look beyond the obvious, to scrutinize the silences, and to interpret the gaps in our knowledge as potential evidence in themselves. Some scholars hypothesize that propaganda extended far beyond the public gaze, reaching into the very fabric of daily life through means so subtle they might escape modern detection. Could coded messages have been embedded within classical art, disguised as decorative motifs or mythological scenes, conveying loyalty or fear to those with the eyes to see? Imagine a fresco, seemingly depicting a heroic myth, yet containing a specific gesture or a subtle alteration of an established narrative understood only by an initiated few, or perhaps by a population unknowingly conditioned to interpret it in a specific pro-imperial light. The urban networks of ancient Rome, bustling with millions, provided fertile ground for the dissemination of information, both official and unofficial. Subversive rumors, carefully crafted and strategically introduced, could spread like wildfire through vast populations, shaping public opinion without any discernible imperial source. These rumors might have amplified certain fears, demonized perceived enemies, or elevated imperial figures to an almost mythical status, all while maintaining an illusion of organic public sentiment. How would such rumors have been initiated?
Perhaps through carefully placed agents in the bustling markets, the public baths, or the crowded taverns, places where everyday conversations became the conduits for imperial narratives disguised as common gossip. The power of such unseen narratives lies in their ability to bypass critical faculties, to be absorbed as part of the social fabric rather than as overt state messaging. Then there are the elaborate religious rituals, deeply woven into Roman society, which some argue were designed not merely for spiritual appeasement, but to instill fear and veneration towards the ruling powers. The emperors themselves often held supreme religious authority, bridging the gap between the earthly and the divine. Could the spectacle of a religious procession, the chanting of priests, the solemn sacrifices have been meticulously choreographed to reinforce imperial legitimacy, to cast the emperor as a divinely sanctioned ruler, a protector against chaos, whose power was as undeniable as the gods themselves? The awe, the communal experience, the profound emotional impact of these rituals could have been harnessed as a powerful tool of psychological conditioning, solidifying the social order and the emperor's position at its apex. These were not just acts of faith, but potentially highly sophisticated theatrical productions designed to manipulate collective consciousness, forging a shared reality where imperial rule was not just accepted, but revered. The very concept of forbidden propaganda also implies a deliberate concealment, a systematic effort to erase certain narratives from history's embrace. Others suggest that much of the most insidious propaganda was intentionally left unrecorded, precisely to ensure its effectiveness. A whispered threat, a veiled promise, a selectively enforced law. These do not always leave tangible traces for future archaeologists. Furthermore, it is hypothesized that successful regimes, keen to sanitize their own legacies or to delegitimize their predecessors, might have systematically destroyed records of these darker arts of influence.
Imagine the purging of archives, the burning of scrolls, the defacing of monuments that contained inconvenient truths or revealed the mechanics of previous manipulations. If this were true, our current understanding of Roman propaganda would be a carefully curated, incomplete picture, a sanitized version reflecting only what later powers wished us to see. This absence of evidence then becomes a form of evidence itself, a ghostly echo of what once was. A particularly compelling perspective argues that the very absence of certain historical records is, in itself, a form of propaganda, a testament to the success of ancient Roman leaders in controlling their legacy. If a regime successfully erased all traces of its most manipulative tactics, or if it managed to prevent any critical narratives from being recorded, then its control over history is absolute. This control extends through the ages, dictating what future generations remember and forget. The silence in the historical record therefore could be the loudest message of all, a chilling testament to the imperial mastery of narrative, not just in their own time, but across millennia.
The historical void where critical perspectives or evidence of clandestine manipulation should be becomes a monument to their effectiveness, a testament to their success in shaping not just public perception in their own time, but their immortal image in ours. The challenge for echoes of time and for historical scholarship lies in scrutinizing these silences and looking for faint impressions where explicit records are absent. Were there truly forbidden messages etched into hidden corners of temples, visible only in specific light or to those with a particular key? Were unsettling truths whispered in the shadows of the forum, passed down through generations in a manner that bypassed written decree but solidified belief? Or were these insidious techniques so subtly woven into daily life, in the architecture of public spaces, the designs of common household items, the structure of festivals and celebrations, in ways we are only now beginning to uncover as we learn to look beyond the obvious for deeper layers of meaning and intent?
To unearth these untold stories of how an empire manipulated hearts and minds, we must become historical detectives, sifting through forgotten artifacts for cryptic texts, re-examining archaeological findings with a fresh, skeptical eye. We must learn to read between the lines of official histories, to question the motives behind the grandeur, and to consider the possibilities of deliberate concealment. A simple coin, a fragment of pottery, a barely legible inscription, a seemingly innocuous wall painting, each could hold the clue to Rome's most guarded secrets of persuasion. This quest is not about discrediting the magnificence of Rome, but about achieving a more complete, nuanced understanding of its extraordinary power, acknowledging that its dominion was often as much about psychological supremacy as it was about military might. The techniques employed by ancient Rome in its psychological warfare, its mastery of perception management, and its subtle manipulation of collective belief prove that the pen, or perhaps more accurately, the chisel, the stylus, or the whispered word, was often as mighty, if not mightier, than the sword. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that human societies, even the most advanced, can be guided, sometimes imperceptibly, by carefully constructed narratives. As we journey through these forgotten pages, we realize that the echoes of Rome's influence operations reverberate even into our present, offering chilling insights into the perennial power of persuasion. Join Echoes of Time as we continue to delve into the past to better understand the present. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our historical explorations into lost civilizations, unsolved enigmas, and the untold stories that shape our world. As we conclude our journey into the whispering walls of ancient Rome, we are left with a profound question. If an empire could so skillfully manipulate hearts and minds, crafting its own legacy through overt display and hidden persuasion, what forbidden truths still lie buried not just in Rome, but in the annals of every powerful civilization that sought to control its own narrative?